See what the decision would have been had Patrick Schick actually put that into the top right-hand corner. Slowly getting to his feet. Here's the goal scorer for Hado. They've never beaten European opposition in their history, Guatemala, so who knows? Perhaps they can create a little bit of history here tonight. Definitely looked threatening enough in that first half. On the counter-attack, they looked lively. Interesting to watch Adam Klozek, who has come on for Czechia at half-time. The number 9, such a good player to watch. Playing in those little half spaces, turning defenders. It's been a ball that they've been looking for quite a lot, actually, in the first half, that long diagonal ball over to the left-hand side. Decent ball, just couldn't quite get up to it, Schick, but Soufal is able to get on the end of it. Not sure whether the assistant referee there, well, initially pointed a flag to the right-hand side, suggesting that it should be a Czechia ball, but in the end has changed her initial decision. As you can see, definitely put it up to the right-hand side. It's way too short on the pass, comfortably intercepted by Aaron Herrera, man who plays his football in the United States for DC United. Actually played one international game for the United States, did Aaron Herrera. That was back in 2021, and then changed his allegiances to represent Guatemala in 2023. His dad, Diego, is Guatemalan. Again, just a chorus of boos every single time Czechia get any meaningful possession. Provod. Guatemala just saying, well, break us down if you can. Loads of white shirts back behind the ball again. Soufal trying to trick his way through, but Guatemala are equal to it. Just can't quite keep hold of it for long enough to give them a little bit of a break here. It's going to be difficult if this is the pattern of this second half. Every time they get it, Czechia seemingly able to win the ball back within 2 or 3 seconds. Here is Klozek. Souček. Lovely switch of play from Souček to his West Ham United teammate. Soufal. Probing again here at Czechia, but is there going to be some sort of end result? Hrozek decided to try and head it down and look for a teammate rather than go for goal with that header. Try just to help it round the corner. Can he keep it in? No, it will be a Czechia throw-in. Just relentless pressure at the moment from Czechia. I always feel as though it's just so difficult to keep your concentration as a defensive outfit when you just spend 45 minutes potentially with 10 men behind the ball. It becomes physically and mentally draining, that concentration effort that you need to dig in, keep your defensive shape. So Czech rather theatrically goes to ground, but does win the free kick. Will be kept in here by Jurasek. All the way back across to Soufal. Now Holej. Back to Soufal, decent ball, but just couldn't get any purchase on the header, really. Very comfortable for the goalkeeper. And as I said, despite all the possession for Czechia, you wouldn't necessarily say that Luis Moran in the Guatemala goal has had it particularly tough. For Zeleny, but just too much on the ball, and the goalkeeper allows it to go out of play for a goal kick. So just over 10 minutes gone in this second half. Guatemala feel have barely touched the ball, but Czechia unable to create too much. Well, here is an opportunity. Oh, he's looked convinced that that was going to be a free kick there. Referee had a perfect viewpoint, and now they're under pressure here, Czechia on the counter-attack. Here is Fajardo, the goal scorer. Good tackle, though, by the substitute, Holej. Socek thought about switching it over to that left-hand touchline again. Provod. Good defensive shape once more from Guatemala. Czechia just struggling to break them down, struggling to create space. Provod trying to take matters into his own hands. Now Jurasek, his cross is blocked. We might think about the long throw, no, instead just go quickly. Well, it's back to Souček. There's lots of bodies in the penalty area. I think Czechia probably wish that Souček was one of them, though, because he was one of their big aerial threats. Just being forced further and further back here. That's well done again by the big man up front. He's had a good day today, has Daniel Mendes, on debut for Guatemala, the 20-year-old. He's a big presence up there, but at times he's been isolated. When the ball has come up to him, he's stayed physical. He's been able to hold it up and wait to bring other teammates into play. So 3 changes for Guatemala coming up. Escobar, Evans and Ordonez coming on. And looks as though it is Mendes heading off. The goal scorer, Fajardo, is coming off. Confirm who the third substitution is. Oh, there we go. It's going to be Oscar Santos, who is also making way. So we've got half an hour to go. Matt Evans, another who's just come onto the fields, who actually represented the United States at a younger age group, played under 17 football for the US. Made his senior Guatemala debut in the loss to Jamaica. That was back on the 10th of June last year. An American father, a Guatemalan mother. Looks like more substitutions here. Sometimes get a little messy, the second half of friendly matches. Difficult for teams to get a rhythm. Constantly stopping and starting, bringing substitutions on and off. So a load of changes upcoming here for Czechia. So we've got Dudera, Chori, Sufal is coming off. Provod here making way. So almost the entire starting 11 off the field now. Good chance for Coach Kubek just to examine his whole squad. Give them all a few minutes before the World Cup does get started. Because it will be the Czechia group that will kick off the World Cup with Mexico taking on South Africa. That will be the first game next Thursday. And then it will be Czechia's turn next Friday. Start off against the Republic of Korea in Mexico. South Africa will be their second group game on the 18th of June. And then Mexico will be their last game. 24th of June, that will be. It's well played. A rare moment of possession here for Guatemala in the second half. Feel as though they've spent most of the opening 20 minutes of this half defending. Chance just to try and catch their breath here. It's a terrible ball though, just given away. How costly will it be? Hlozek has stayed down, but Czechia have kept possession. Another pretty physical challenge on the edge of the penalty area there. It was Cherv who went down. Now Hlozek quality lined it up, but got it all wrong. And now the referee just wants a little word, I think, with the defender. That little coming together that we just saw 20 seconds ago. Yeah, they're enjoying their evening. Oh, the Guatemala supporters. Certainly enjoying it much more than the last match they would have watched. That 7-0 drubbing at the hands of Algeria. Not clear. Czechia come again with Hlozek. Hlozek tries to shoot. Don't think Guatemala will necessarily mind that. Shots coming in from 20 yards or so. I've lost both of their matches in 2026, Guatemala. That defeat to Algeria that I've mentioned. They also lost 1-0 to Canada, excuse me, in a friendly. That was back in early January. So you've got to go back to their 3-1 victory over Suriname at the end of November last year for their last victory that they've had. Held their own as well to Guatemala in the Gold Cup. Really captured the imagination of Central America. They reached the Gold Cup semi-finals. Narrowly missed out on the Inter-Confederation World Cup playoffs. I definitely feel as though their trajectory is pointing pretty firmly forward. Going to be interesting just to keep an eye on their development over the next 4 or 5 years. Sure, they're already looking towards the World Cup in 2030. It's given away cheaply. Just got to be a little careful here. Hlozek again trying to squeeze one through, and that is a big-time challenge. Although it wouldn't have counted anyway. The offside flag had gone up. So we're just going to have another cooling break here, as will be the case at the World Cup. Temperature's still pretty warm in most areas in the United States, so 20 minutes into each half. No surprise that there's smiles on the faces of the Guatemala players here. I think they'll be delighted with how they've played so far. Done a very good job of nullifying Czechia. Not sure what the discussion here is. So not happy about something, Cherry, getting a little arm around the shoulder from the referee. So are we going to get a winner? Just about 20 minutes or so to find one. Can't really think of a shot on target that we've had in this second half. It's all been pretty much played in the kind of middle third of the pitch. Guatemala fans doing a fabulous job here of getting behind their team, loving every second of this one. Here's Zeleny. Hollis. Bit of space to turn. Zima. Going from left to right, back down this right-hand side now. Hollis has made a good run forward from the back. It's well intercepted, and Morales can try and knock it clear. He does so, but as has been the theme really in the second half, the ball just immediately back at the feet of a Czechia player. Hlozek trying to make something happen, you feel, Adam Hlozek. It's a good ball. Turned around the corner as well. Comes a delivery. Oh, it's a wonderful one as well. And it is headed emphatically into the back of the net from Chody. And Czechia have the lead once more. They've not created too much in this second half, but a brilliant delivery from that right-hand side. And an excellent header from Thomas Chody, the substitute. Absolutely no chance for the goalkeeper. It's his 7th goal in a Czechia shirt, and it may well just be the winning goal here this evening. Guatemala's stubborn resistance unfortunately comes to an end. Yeah, not a lot that man could have done. Just headed it perfectly. Well, they've had to be patient, Czechia. They've been probing without necessarily making anything happen, but just one moment of magic down that right-hand side. Absolutely pinpoint delivery. Don't rule Guatemala out of this just yet. We've already seen them come from behind once. Rosales sends it forward to Aaron Herrera. Doesn't have too much support down that right-hand side. Back to Rosales. Dealt with! Oh, and it's just wide. It looked good when it left his foot. And I think for a second, Ordonez thought that he'd equalised again for Guatemala. It was a great strike. And Czechia have got to be careful. Almost every time they come forward, Guatemala, they look lively. That's got the crowd going again. Oh, must be a pretty good feel-good factor in the Czechia camp right now. I mean, obviously the way that they actually made it through to the World Cup was just extraordinary, with those back-to-back 2-2 draws coming through on penalties. They've been playing well for a little while now. You've got to go back to October of last year for their last defeat. It was a bit of a surprising one as well, actually. They lost to the Faroe Islands by 2-1. Another look at the goal here. Such a good delivery, and just had to make sure he found the corner. Didn't have to apply any pace to the header. That was all on the cross. This would be 6 games unbeaten if Czechia were to come through this one. A good win over Kosovo 6 days ago. Goals for Ladra and Hlozek that day. And to beat Denmark and Ireland, 2 good wins there as well in those World Cup playoffs. So they'll definitely be heading to the World Cup next week, feeling pretty good about where their football is at. And you wouldn't say that they've got the worst group. Korea, Mexico and South Africa. Here is Hlozek trying to bend one towards that top right-hand corner. And I think this is going to be the first yellow card of the game, which it is. And it goes, I think that is to Hernandez. So the goal scorer is down here, Choddy, so the medical assistant's coming on. Not entirely sure what happened here. So it looks as though he's okay, although he is hobbling away rather gingerly here. There's Chori.